The sun was setting over the bustling streets of New Delhi, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Salman Khan, the renowned Bollywood actor and producer, walked through the busy streets, feeling the weight of a long day of filming. His latest film, a historical epic, was demanding more of him than any previous project. As he walked, he observed the pulsating life of the city around him, so different from the glamorous world of cinema. The tantalizing aroma of spices filled his nostrils, making his stomach growl. Salman couldn't remember the last time he had eaten anything substantial. His eyes scanned the street until they settled on a small shawarma stand, modest but incredibly attractive at that moment. Approaching the vendor, Salman ordered a full shawarma, with all the trimmings. While he waited, he leaned against a nearby post, enjoying the moment of anonymity that the twilight gave him. It was then that his eyes caught movement in the alley next door. A small figure moved through the shadows, rummaging through a pile of trash. Salman narrowed his eyes, trying to discern what he saw. It was a child, a girl who couldn't have been more than 10 years old. His heart sank as he saw the thin, dirty girl sifting through the remains, looking for anything that might be useful or edible. The vendor called Salman, handing him the shawarma wrapped in paper. The actor picked up the snack, but his eyes never left the scene in the alley. The girl was now sitting on the floor, examining something she had found, a shiny piece of metal that she had carefully stored in a worn plastic bag. Without thinking twice, Salman walked towards the girl. She saw him approach and immediately flinched, as if expecting to be reprimanded or thrown out. Salman's heart broke a little more at that instinctive reaction. "Hello," he said softly, crouching down to eye level with the girl. "You must be hungry. Would you like to share the shawarma with me?" The girl looked at him with a mixture of suspicion and hope. His big brown eyes seemed to contain all the sadness in the world. Slowly, she nodded, still cautious. Salman smiled gently and broke the shawarma in half, offering most of it to the girl. She took it with shaking hands, as if she couldn't believe what was happening. "What is your name?" asked Salman, as the girl took a hungry bite of shawarma. "Priya," she replied shyly, after swallowing. "Your name is Salman Khan, isn't it? I saw you on the posters." Salman was surprised. Even in these conditions, the girl had recognized him. "Yes, it's me. It's nice to meet you, Priya. Tell me, why are you here alone?" Priya hesitated, her eyes filling with tears. "My mother, she works all day. We don't have much money since my father." She couldn't finish the sentence, but Salman understood. At that moment, a muffled sob caught their attention. Turning around, Salman saw the waitress from the shawarma stand standing a few meters away, with her hands covering her mouth and tears streaming down her face. "Priya," the woman whispered, her voice cracking with emotion. The girl looked at her, her eyes widening in recognition and embarrassment. "Mom," Priya murmured, lowering her head. Salman looked from one to the other, understanding slowly forming in his mind. The story was just beginning to unfold, and he knew his life was about to change forever. The waitress, still with tears in her eyes, took a hesitant step towards Priya and Salman. The actor stood up, confused by the scene unfolding before him. The woman, dressed in a simple, worn-out sari, seemed torn between embarrassment and relief. I'm sorry," she stammered, addressing Salman. "She shouldn't be here. I didn't know." Her voice trailed off, and she covered her face with her hands, sobbing silently. Priya, still holding the half-eaten shawarma, looked from her mother to Salman, her eyes filled with fear and confusion. The actor, feeling that he was in the middle of something much bigger than he imagined, decided to act calmly and compassionately. "Please don't apologize," Salman said softly, addressing the woman. "I just wanted to help. You guys seem to be having a hard time. May I ask what happened?" The woman, still shaking, dropped her hands and looked at Salman with red, swollen eyes. "My name is Anjali," she said, her voice little more than a whisper. "I'm the mother of Priya and 3 other children. My husband, he died 6 months ago in a construction accident." Salman felt a lump form in his throat. The story was painfully common in a city like Delhi, but seeing it up close, embodied in this broken family, was heartbreaking. Since then, it's been a daily struggle, Anjali continued, gaining a little more composure. I work all day, but I can barely put food on the table. Priya, she tries to help however she can, but I never wanted her to come out on the streets like this. Priya, hearing her mother's words, let out a small sob. I just wanted to help, Mom, she said, her voice shaking. Sometimes I find things we can sell, or food that's still good. Salman's heart sank even more. He thought about his own films, about the stories of overcoming and hope that he so often portrayed on screen. But here, before him, was a real story, raw and painful. Anjali, Salman said, his voice thick with emotion, you are a very brave woman. And Priya, you are an amazing girl for wanting to help your family. But you shouldn't go through this alone. At that moment, an idea began to form in Salman's mind. He was more than just an actor, he was a producer, a philanthropist, someone with the means to make a difference. I want to help, he said decisively. Not just today, but in a way that can change their lives. Anjali looked at him, a mixture of hope and distrust in her eyes. Mr. Khan, that's very kind of you, but we can't accept charity. It's already too much that you fed Priya. Salman shook his head, a gentle smile forming on his lips. It's not charity, Anjali. It's an opportunity. A chance to start over. Tell me, what do you know how to do besides waitressing? Anjali seemed surprised by the question. Well, I used to make clothes. My mother taught me how to sew when I was young. I dreamed of having my own shop one day, but... So that's it, exclaimed Salman, his eyes shining with excitement. Anjali, what if I could help you open this store? Not as charity, but as an investment. In you, in your family, in your future. Anjali's eyes widened in shock. Priya, who had been listening intently, let out a small scream of joy. Mom, you always made the prettiest clothes. Remember the dress you made for me last Diwali? Anjali looked at her daughter, then back at Salman, fresh tears shining in her eyes. But this time, they were tears of hope. Mr. Khan, I don't know what to say. It would change our lives. Salman smiled, feeling a wave of emotion run through his body. Then don't say anything. Just accept it. Tomorrow, let's meet and start planning. This is your chance, Anjali. Priya's and your other children's chance. As the sun finally disappeared over the horizon, casting its last lights on the scene, Salman Khan realized he had found something far more valuable than any role he had ever played. He had found a chance to make a real difference, to transform lives. And in the process, he felt his own life was being transformed. The next morning, Salman woke up with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. The images of Priya and Anjali were still vivid in his mind, reminding him of the promise he had made. He knew the day would be long and full of challenges, but he was determined to keep his word. After making a few calls and organizing his schedule, Salman headed to the address Anjali had given him the night before. It was a humble neighborhood on the outskirts of Delhi, with narrow streets and crowded houses. When he arrived at the Sharma's small residence, he was greeted by a nervous Anjali and her 4 children, all looking at him with a mixture of awe and disbelief. Lord Khan, Anjali greeted him, bowing respectfully. I can't believe you actually came. Please come in. She led him inside the modest house, where a makeshift table had been set with tea and some cookies. Salman smiled warmly at the family. Besides Priya, there were 2 younger boys and a baby girl in Anjali's arms. It's a pleasure to meet you all, he said, sitting down. Anjali, as I promised, I'm here to help. But first, I want to hear more about you and your dreams. In the minutes that followed, Anjali shared her story. She talked about how she learned to sew from her mother, about the wedding dresses she dreamed of creating, about the difficulties she faced after her husband's death. His words were punctuated by sighs and distant looks, as if he was reliving each moment. As he listened, Salman made mental notes. He could see the talent and passion in Anjali's eyes, even if it was clouded by the weight of circumstances. Anjali, he said finally, your dream is not dead. It is just dormant, waiting to be awakened. With these words, Salman began to outline a plan. He talked about renting a small space for a store, about buying sewing machines and fabrics, about hiring an accountant to help with finances. Anjali listened, her eyes widening with each new idea. But, Lord Khan, she interrupted at one point, this must all cost a fortune. How can I accept so much from you? Salman smiled gently. Anjali, see this as an investment. Not just in a business, but in lives. I believe in you and your talent. All I ask in return is that when your business is thriving, you help other families who are going through similar hardships. Salman's words touched Anjali deeply. She looked at her children, who were listening intently, and saw in them a future that had previously seemed impossible. With tears in her eyes, she nodded. I accept, Lord Khan. And I promise that I will do everything to honor your trust. In the days that followed, Salman dove headfirst into the project. In between filming his new film, he dedicated every spare moment to helping the Sharma family. She found a small space to rent not far from Anjali's house, purchased high-quality sewing equipment, and hired a designer to help create the store's visual identity. Priya and her siblings were also involved in the process. The girl, who previously spent her days on the streets, now helped her mother organize fabrics and learned the basics of sewing. The boys helped clean and paint the store, transforming the empty space into something full of potential. A week before the planned opening, Salman arrived at the store to find Anjali working furiously at a sewing machine. She looked up, a beaming smile on her face. Mr. Khan, look, she exclaimed, holding up a beautiful sari with intricate embroidery. It's the first dress I made for the store. Salman was amazed by the beauty and quality of the work. Anjali, this is incredible. You have a true gift. At that moment, seeing the pride in Anjali's eyes and the hope on her children's faces, Salman felt a wave of emotion hit him. He realized that in his quest to help this family, he had found something missing in his own life, a purpose beyond the spotlight and fame. The night before the inauguration, Salman couldn't sleep. He thought about how a series of seemingly random events, his desire for a shawarma, his meeting with Priya, had led to something so significant. He wondered if this was fate or simply the magic that happens when people choose to be kind to each other. As the sun rose over Delhi, marking the beginning of a new day and a new chapter in the Sharma's lives, Salman Khan knew that his own journey of transformation was just beginning. What he didn't know was that the universe still had some surprises in store for him, and that the greatest challenge and greatest reward were yet to come. The opening day of Anjali's store arrived with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The small space had been transformed into a fairy tale of colorful fabrics and stunning designs. Anjali, dressed in one of her own creations, a sapphire blue sari with delicate gold embroidery, looked like a queen in her kingdom. Salman arrived early, bringing with him a discreet security team to manage the crowd that was sure to form when people discovered his presence. He hugged Anjali and her children, feeling strangely emotional. Today is your day, he told Anjali. You deserve all the success in the world. As customers began to arrive, drawn by the beautiful designs in the window and the buzz of excitement on the street, Salman stepped aside to a corner, watching with pride as Anjali deftly navigated the customers, explaining her designs and making sales. It was then that he noticed an older man standing at the store's entrance, looking around with an expression of shock and something that looked like recognition. Intrigued, Salman approached the man. Hello, sir, said Salman gently. Welcome to the store. Can I help you with anything? The man, with graying hair and tired eyes, looked at Salman with a mixture of surprise and awe. You are Salman Khan, he said, not as a question but as a statement of astonishment. What are you doing here? Salman smiled. I'm helping a friend achieve her dream. But you seem to know this place. May I ask your name? The man hesitated for a moment before responding. My name is Rajesh. Rajesh Sharma. Salman's smile froze. Sharma. Same surname as Anjali. But she had said that her husband was dead. Before Salman could fully process what was happening, he heard a crash behind him. Turning around, he saw Anjali standing there, a broken vase at her feet, her face pale as if she had seen a ghost. Rajesh, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hustle and bustle of the store. Is that you? The man stepped forward, tears glistening in his eyes. Anjali, my love. I'm back." The store fell silent, all eyes focused on the unfolding drama. Priya and her brothers rushed to their mother's side, looking with a mixture of fear and curiosity at the man who claimed to be their father. Salman, feeling that he was in the middle of something much bigger and more complicated than he imagined, tried to remain calm. "Anjali," he said softly, "do you know this man?" Anjali, still shaking, nodded slowly. "It's my husband." But you were dead." "The construction accident." Rajesh took another step forward, his hands outstretched in a gesture of supplication. "I didn't die, Anjali. I was seriously injured and lost my memory. I spent the last few months in a hospital in another city, trying to remember who I was. It was only recently that my memories started to come back." The revelation fell like a bomb in a store. Customers began to murmur among themselves, some discreetly leaving, others staying to watch the drama unfold. Salman, realizing that the situation could get out of control, acted quickly. "Please," he said, addressing everyone in the store, "let's give this family a moment of privacy. I ask that everyone step outside for a few minutes." With the help of his security team, he gently guided customers out, closing the store door behind them. Turning to the Sharma family, Salman saw a scene of conflicting emotions. Anjali was crying openly now, torn between the joy of seeing her husband alive and the shock of the situation. The children looked from one adult to another, confused and scared. "Maybe we should sit down and talk," Salman suggested, trying to bring some order to the chaos. He guided everyone to the back of the store, where there was a small rest area. As Rajesh began to tell his story, the accident, the amnesia, the long weeks in the hospital trying to recover his memories, Salman watched the family's reactions. He saw the fear and uncertainty in Anjali's eyes slowly turn to relief and love. He saw the children, initially cautious, begin to approach the father they thought they had lost. And amidst all this, Salman felt a strange mix of emotions. Joy at the family reunion, of course, but also a pang of loss. He had become deeply involved with the Sharmas in recent weeks, feeling almost part of the family. Now, with Rajesh's return, he was wondering what his role would be from now on. As the conversation continued, revealing more details about Rajesh's journey and the challenges Anjali faced, Salman remained silent, taking it all in. He knew this revelation would change everything, not just for the Sharmas, but for him as well. As night fell over Delhi and emotions in the small shop began to calm down, Salman realized that this was not the end of the story, but just the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter that promised more surprises, challenges and, perhaps, a profound lesson about the true meaning of family, love and destiny. In the days following the surprising revelation, the Sharmas and Salman Khan's lives were thrown into a whirlwind of emotions and adjustments. The store, which should have been the focus of all attention, became the backdrop for a family reunion story that captured the imagination of all of Delhi. Anjali, torn between the joy of having her husband back and gratitude for what Salman had done, spent sleepless nights, trying to reconcile her past with her present. Rajesh, for his part, struggled to find his place in his family's new life, marveling at the changes that had occurred in his absence. Salman, feeling like an intruder in the family's intimate moments, decided to step back for a bit, giving them space to reconnect. However, he couldn't just disappear, his heart was too invested in the Sharma's well-being. A week after Rajesh's return, Salman received a call from Anjali, asking him to come to the store. When he arrived, he found the entire family together, including Rajesh. "Mr. Khan," Anjali began, her voice shaking slightly, we need to talk to you." Salman nodded, sitting down and preparing himself for whatever came next. He half expected them to say they no longer needed his help now that Rajesh had returned. It was Rajesh who spoke next, surprising everyone. "Mr. Khan, I can never thank you enough for what you did for my family while I wasn't here. Not only did you save them from poverty, but you gave Anjali the chance to achieve her dream." Salman started to say that there was no need to thank him, but Rajesh raised his hand, asking to continue. "But more than that," he continued, "you've become part of this family. The kids talk about you as a beloved uncle. Anjali sees you as a brother. And I see you as the guardian angel who protected my family when I couldn't." Tears started to form in Salman's eyes. He didn't expect this. Anjali walked over, taking Salman's hands in hers. "What we're trying to say, Mr. Khan, is that we don't want you to leave our lives. We'd like you to remain part of this family, this store, this dream." Priya, who had been quiet till then, suddenly ran and hugged Salman. "Please, Uncle Salman, stay with us." At that moment, something broke inside Salman Khan. All the barriers he had built over the years, all the masks he wore to the public, crumbled. Tears flowed freely down his face as he hugged Priya back. I would be honored," he managed to say between sobs. In the months that followed, Anjali's store flourished, becoming a landmark in Delhi not just for its beautiful designs, but for the incredible story behind it. Rajesh, although still recovering from his experience, found a new purpose in helping run the business. Salman, in turn, discovered a new dimension in his life. He continued his film career, of course, but now with a new vigor and purpose. Every role he played, every film he produced, was imbued with the lessons he had learned from the Sharmas about love, family, and the power of helping others. The story of the store and the unlikely friendship between the Sharma family and Salman Khan spread, inspiring others to make a difference in their communities. Anjali, true to her promise to Salman, began training other vulnerable women, giving them the skills they needed to follow their own dreams. A year after the store opened, on a starry Delhi night, the Sharma family and Salman Khan gathered for a private celebration. As they shared stories and laughter, Salman looked around the table at the smiling faces that had become so dear to him. He thought about the shawarma he had bought that fateful night, the chance meeting with Priya that changed everything. How could a small act of kindness trigger a series of events that would transform so many lives? Raising his glass, Salman proposed a toast. "To the family," he said, "not just the one we are born into, but the one we choose and that chooses us." As glasses clanked and smiles sparkled around the table, Salman Khan knew he had found something more precious than any fame or fortune. He had found a home for his heart. And so, in the city of Delhi, where millions of stories unfold every day, one story in particular about an actor, a family, and a shawarma that changed everything would continue to inspire and move for many years to come.